Hey y'all, I'm here. I'm back with another video. So this is gonna be, I hate saying, oh, this is not gonna be a long video because it always end up being long. But I'm gonna be real with y'all. This video in particular, I have a lot of, I'm here to talk about the Aaron Hernandez killer inside. We're here to talk about that. And in all reality, y'all, I'm sorry, hold on, I gotta sign on. I'm gonna talk to y'all while I'm signing on to my computer. But I felt like this documentary was so much bigger than just talking about him. Like, I will say this. Let me give my overall thought of the documentary. My overall thought was that it was okay. I'm not gonna lie. I expected something a little bit different. However, I will say that I like the way that they hit on a lot of different topics that really just didn't apply to Aaron. It was very like you can take a lot of different people in a lot of different situations and apply what he was going through to it. Like I said, I like a lot of the bigger conversations. So my video for the most part is gonna be less about Aaron Hernandez himself and more so about a lot of the bigger topics that were within the documentary itself. I will say this. The whole time I was watching this, the only person that I could really think of was Antonio Brown. And I'm not saying that that Antonio Brown is gonna do the stuff that Aaron did. Not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that a lot of the behaviors that were described leading up to when Aaron started to do what he did, a lot of it is very similar to AB. And I know that I went on a whole rant yesterday or the other day about him, and I know I be dragging him, but in our reality, like I did say, at least in my other videos, that man really needs help. And I would hope that AB will watch something like this and take some things from it. Because like I said, a lot of the bigger points that I'm going to touch on, it applies to Antonio Brown. Let's take out the murder part. Take out the murder part. I know that's what everybody cares about. But let's take out the actual part of the murder and shit and the shootings and stuff. Everything else, though, contributes to what a lot of these athletes and football players, their mindset, what they go through. And again, I just think that this is a cautionary tale for somebody like AB. Like, that man needs to get help. I seen today that his lawyers dropped him because he didn't pay them. And Stephanie from the cartel crew, you still sitting on there looking like a dumbass sitting next to him. But whatever. Whole nother video for today. But regardless, let's get into it. So, I have notes, as y'all always know. As I always know. Okay, so first, let me start off by saying, rest in peace to Odin Lloyd and the other two gentlemen. Not only, I don't remember the other two gentlemen's name. I could have easily looked it up. But again, this man, I have my own feelings about that case. I'm going to be real about it. Before I kind of go too deep into it, I want to say about the second case, I don't know if he actually did it. That's not what I'm here. I'm not judging. I'm not jury. But I do believe that that man, Alexander, I feel like he definitely had more of a hand into that than he's trying to make it seem. So I'm going to say that. Okay, so I also want to say, as a precursor, I've seen in a lot of videos, so I'm going to say it too because I don't want nobody coming for me. Everything that I'm about to talk about is not an excuse. It is not justification. It's none of that for Mr. Hernandez. It's none of that. None of that. All this documentary really did was just give insight as to why. Kind of like the whole thing, like with Ted Bundy and stuff. Like, ain't nobody trying to be all happy for what Ted Bundy did, but the documentary about him and the tapes and stuff, it gives context, and context is important because it can possibly help us, stop somebody else from going down that path. Okay, all right. So, we're going to hit into a couple things. I will talk about stuff, like I said, that happened throughout the documentary in regards to him, but I also want to talk about some overall large picture stuff, okay? Just a few things. One of the first things I want to touch on is their talk of his use of marijuana. Very early on in this documentary, I'm going to say I probably didn't even get past part 1. And the amount of times that they brought up his use of marijuana, it wasn't even how many times they brought it up. It was how they were bringing it up in conjunction to what he was doing. So a lot of times they would set it up of, oh, he just went and he pulled out a gun on somebody, but he was smoking a lot that day. Oh, he went and he did something else that was really violent, but he was smoking a lot that day. So my whole problem with this is that It blows my mind looking at this documentary that we're in 2020 and people are still trying to use the narrative that they are about marijuana. Marijuana is legal in God knows how many states. Medical, it's a damn near legal in just about every fucking state. It's getting its way there with recreational because as a collective we have noticed and we pretty much know that marijuana is no more harmful than something like alcohol. And what blew my mind is that there were plenty of times, like for instance when the whole situation with him and the other two young men that were killed, when he went into the club you seen that he was taking shots and that he took some drinks, but throughout the documentary that was never brought up. It was never brought up about the fact that he could have possibly been intoxicated from alcohol. It was constantly brought up about the fact that, oh, he smoked. Oh, he got this house over there so he could chain smoke marijuana. What I wish that they would have been more specific about is because I do remember in the documentary them saying that at one point in time that somebody else that he was hanging out with, they used to roll up their blunts but with PCP inside of it. That is something completely different. And I wish in this documentary that if anything, y'all talking about him smoking, that y'all should have went a little bit deeper into what was exactly he was smoking, because there's a difference between correlation and causation. Those are two completely different fucking things. And I feel like the documentary did not hit on that point enough. I felt like it was too much of, oh, he's smoking marijuana. There's a complete difference between smoking pure marijuana and then smoking your blunt when it's laced, as we would like to say. Your shit's laced with something, laced with PCP, laced with coke, aka bunk. Like, yes, there are definitely people who smoke, but it's not just the marijuana. They are normally, a lot of times, people who have erratic behaviors after smoking marijuana. It's because it's laced with something. If in our reality, if Aaron Hernandez was smoking as much as in one point in time that they claimed that he was smoking and it was just weed, that man would have been knocked out. I'm talking about in a sense, he would have been asleep. He wouldn't have wanted did nothing, okay? He wouldn't have wanted did shit. Okay, if anything, if the only thing that I can say about marijuana that's kind of true, well, at least for me, is that at times I can feel paranoid at times. So maybe that's what they're talking about the paranoia part. But again, from what I've heard from what the other people he was around, y'all said in the documentary yourself that they were rolling up with PCP. So in my mind, that's what I think it was. I don't think that Aaron was just simply smoking just pure marijuana. That man was probably rolling his stuff in no fucking shade at all. But Florida in particular, Miami, that whole little South Florida is very much so known for bunk and people rolling up. Trick Daddy is a prime example. Trick Daddy is like the spokesperson of somebody who rolls up their blunts and puts coke in, or rolls up their blunts and put other stuff in it. So I wish that would have been talked about more, because I did not like the way that marijuana was continuously brought up over and over and over and over again to try to make it seem as if that's why they never said out their mouth, but I got what y'all was trying to hint at. Y'all was trying to hint at the fact that because he smoked so much, that's why he did what he did. No, I ain't Okay, also, I will also say this when it comes to causation, correlation. Marijuana affects everybody differently, okay? So I don't think that it's cool for y'all to sit up there in this documentary and try to paint one picture of marijuana. But again, nobody talked about the alcohol. What did he drink a lot? Like, can we talk about that as well? So that was my whole issue, because it was brought up way too many times. It just bothered the hell out of me. And half of the time, people didn't even know what the fuck they was talking about. There was a point in time where somebody said, the police officer, I think, said that in one of the videos, he went to the store and he bought a pack of Bubblition and he bought a Black and Mild, which is used to roll up marijuana. What? Who do y'all be paying attention? Who do y'all smoke with? I can honestly say, in my whole life, I've never in my life seen somebody buy a Black and Mild. Are you talking about like with the woods? I've never seen nobody buy a Black and Mild and break that shit down and roll up weed in it. That's me personally. Now, other type of blunts and stuff like games, white owls, shows, stuff like that, yes. But I've never seen somebody buy a Black and Mild with the intention of breaking it down and rolling up some weed in it. That's just me, but I could be wrong. Maybe that's how they get down to Florida. I don't know, but I just found that to be really, really weird. He could have been buying a Black and Mild just to smoke a Black and Mild. There are plenty of people who smoke marijuana and they smoke Black and Milds as a substitute. So that's that. Alrighty, okay. What else? Also, I wanted to say about the documentary that I didn't say at the top is that this documentary, they did not talk to a lot of people who really knew Aaron. And that's what I expected from this. When you say killer inside, I'm thinking that you're really getting to the people. I don't know, maybe I'm spoiled from the Surviving R. Kelly documentary because they had all his people. They had his brother, they had his torment, they had everybody who actually really knew him. In this, they didn't have people in here who knew him. They interviewed people who was somewhat part of the case, people who were in football, who were on the Patriots, not even necessarily on the Patriots at the same time as him. Um so I'm not gonna take anything away from them because it could just be possibly that nobody that was in his family or that really knew him wanted to be part of it. That's very possible, but it does take away a lot of the credibility for me personally of the documentary. The fact that there wasn't really nobody there that knew him other than the two friends and stuff like that, which I don't know how much I believe everything that the friend said about the friend who said that they had a relationship, but I really do believe the other friend that he had. I can't think of his name, but the other friend that he had. I believe a lot of what he said. So yeah, I just want to point that out. Something else I wanted to touch on really fast. Another topic is athletes in college. They talked about how when he went to Florida, and once he became, a star on the football team, how he had went to some bar and punched some man and busted his eardrum, but nothing came from it because it's a football town, college town, and who's gonna fucking tell on him? And that was part of the issue. That is part of the issue not just when it comes to him, but when it comes to a lot of these athletes. And I'm speaking from firsthand experience. I went to a 4-year college where I went to a 4-year university. The school that I went to, the football program was no, absolutely not. Like we was like maybe I don't even know the leagues, but we was like negative D league as far as football is concerned. Basketball was more so what my school was kind of, I don't want to say known for because it was known for academics, but the basketball team was actually really good. They actually made it pretty far in a lot of different conferences and all the NCAA, all of that stuff like that. The way that, I'll even be honest, even though our football team wasn't shit, even they got a lot of special fucking treatment when it came to a lot of the classes that I had. Anytime an athlete was in my class, I prayed to God that they were not in my group. In some way, somehow, I always ended up with one in my group. And me and the rest of my group always had to carry that person for a lot of reasons. Oh, because they leaving because they have to go to a game. Oh, they leaving because they got to go to training. Oh, they just not here. And then all they have to do is, contact their coach, and then their coach will contact the teacher, and then that's just the end of that. Massive people who I don't know how they freaking passed any of the classes because I sat there with them time after time in groups and seen them and seen how the fuck are you passing? It's impossible. I also feel like a lot of times colleges, they set these athletes up for failure in the sense of, y'all, number one, y'all let them get away with whatever, so there's no type of consequence that they ever feel like they have to, they never really have to answer for anything. Number two, you're stifling them in the sense of you always pulling them the fuck out of class to go here and to go there. How the fuck can they ever learn? So when you have people who aren't able to make it to the NBA, who aren't able to make it to the NFL, by the time they graduate, they are completely fucked because they didn't even get the opportunity to learn anything because they were so busy out here busting their ass for y'all as the college, you know what I'm saying? And again, everybody's responsible for themselves, but I'm giving people the benefit of the doubt, and from a lot of what I see, I'm just kind of looking at it from both sides. I was one of the people who was very much so against athletes getting paid because, like I said, being in school, I see a lot of the leniency that a lot of athletes already get. However, the more I kind of look into it, I do think that they should be paid, but at the same time, it's like, y'all need to hold these kids responsible. That was part of what happened with Aaron. Y'all let that man do whatever it is that he want to do because of how much he's worth to y'all. So because of that, he could do whatever he wanted to do, and that's the issue. Nobody ever stopped him in his tracks and said, no, you need to go, you need to take a time out and sit down. No, he's bringing in too much money for the school, too much money for the city, too much. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to these colleges, it runs deep. It goes past just the athletic department. It runs deep. Deep as hell, all the way into the state. It runs deep as hell. So that's about the athlete part of it, okay? Athletes in college part, okay? Then I want to talk about, let's see, where should I go here with this? Perception of happiness. It was brought up many times. It was said, I lost count about how many times it was said, oh my gosh, you have everything in the world. How could you do this? You have everything in the world. How could you do this? He had everything he ever wanted. How could he do this? I feel like, and I don't know, maybe this is because of me taking the psychology lesson taking right now, but I feel like that's looking at shit from such a basic point of view. I don't know. It could just be me, but I feel like that's such a basic point of view to look at something from, to say that because material wise he had everything, that he should have been perfectly fine, and that he should have never went through everything that he went through. He should have never did anything. I don't know how many times that people who are rich and famous like him have to kill themselves for people to get that money and materialistic. It don't mean shit. Rest in peace to Robin Williams. Robin Williams was an amazing comedian, an illustrious career, respected, and he killed himself. So I'm a little bit annoyed. What the heck is that? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit annoyed. I was very annoyed of the assumption that because of the fact that that man had all of this money and all of this, that, and the third, that he should have had no reason to do anything that he did. Happiness. I feel like it's just so cliche, and people say it all the time, but people don't really grasp that material things do not make you happy. That man had a lot of deep-rooted issues that he had to fucking work through for him to truly be happy. He even said it when he was in jail that, he said he wasn't happy when he was out here. He's not happy in jail. The only thing that made him happy was his daughter. That's what we need to focus on right there. We need to, what should have been put, an emphasis should have been put on the fact that just because somebody has all of these things, that does not mean that they are truly happy. And I feel like in this documentary, it was flipped to be like, well, he has all of these things, so why is he not happy? Why is he making the decisions? Yes, you can look at it from that point of view. Yes, he had a lot to lose. But if you're unhappy, none of that shit matters. You can have everything in the world, but if you're unhappy, you don't give a fuck if all of that shit burned to the ground, because who gives a fuck? I'm already miserable, so whether I have a million cars, I'm miserable. If I don't have a million cars, it doesn't fucking matter. So I just wanted to, this is another point, the misperception of what happiness is. That's something that we really got to be, as a society, we gotta do better on, okay? The parenting part. We talked about his father and how, the father was very instrumental in his life and stuff like that, and how once the father passed away and the mama got with the cousin's husband, which that's insane to me, right after he passed away, how that really impacted him. I wanted to say about the parenting part that, it is important that especially boys, they have structure and they have some type of discipline in their lives, but there is at times where that shit can go a little bit too far. And I'm not trying to take away nothing from this man's father, but a lot of the stuff that was said about him, the fact that he was abusive a little bit, the fact that even, there were certain things like Aaron had to be like this when his father came around. And even the other guy that he was friends with said he did the same thing when his father came around. That is not good. And I want people to understand that that's not good. That's straight fear. And some people are like, oh, well, would you rather somebody fear you or respect you? No. You can find a nice little balance. And I feel like, especially when it comes to fathers have a hard time walking that line of being respected and then also being feared at the same time. I personally don't think that any child should fear their parent. That's just me personally. I think that you should respect them. If you respect them, then you won't come out your mouth and say certain things. You won't do this. You won't do X, Y. But if you are afraid of them, that makes a completely different dynamic between the child and the parent. It's something where you can't really, there's no type of trust there. When fear is overreigning the respect part, there's no type of trust. The relationship to me is false. It's a facade. It's not really real. You know what I mean? And he even talked to his mom about how, I can't tell you stuff. As kids, as a child, you want to be able to tell your parent anything. You really do. There's certain things, of course, that you don't, but you would like to have the opportunity to tell them. And what really made me sad, I can only say this made me sad, is that when he said to his mother on the phone, you have never known me. And what's sad is that you will die never really knowing your son. That is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And the fact that the mother did what she did with the cousin, shout out to Shannon Sharp on Undisputed. He said facts. He said the mother felt like she was getting back at her husband who passed away. That's why she did that. That was her way of getting back at him. And I agree 1,010%. That woman was hurting, while she was with him. And once he died, she probably felt like, oh girl, I'm free. So I'm definitely about to do what it is that I want to do. But I also think that was fucked up. She should have took Aaron into consideration, especially at the age that he was. Like they said, how the hell do you expect a teenager to deal with the fact that his father just passed away, and a few months later you have another man in his house doing the same thing? I'm not gonna put my actual business, but I have a family member. I have family members who went through the exact same thing. Their mother passed away, and literally a few months later, their father was engaged to another woman. That woman was sleeping in that house, and it caused a lot of friction throughout my family because it just doesn't sit right. It doesn't sit right at all. So yes, I wanted to tell that. I wanted to hit that. I didn't want to talk too much about him being gay or bisexual, because I felt like it was a little bit too much emphasis put on that, me personally. Now, this is not me. I know the lawyer came out and said that, but I'm not looking at it from the lawyer standpoint. I just feel as if everything they tried to tie back into saying, oh, well, he was gay, so he was terrified of coming out, so this is why he did that. I don't like that, because y'all don't know that to be true. That's the only, that I can understand us trying to give context, but I don't like I don't like the way that was painted, that, oh, because somebody might have out him. Like, one of the things is, oh, well, Odin knew that he was gay or something, so that's why he went. Y'all don't even know that to be true. We have no idea. So I don't like that type of speculation, especially because of the way that it puts a light on the LGBT community, because I don't like that. Don't try to make it seem like just because somebody's in the closet that they're willing to do all of this other stuff. Because what I'm confused about is that Aaron had been messing with, according to the quarterback from his high school, they had been messing around since they were young. So you're trying to tell me that nobody else found out or had an inkling from the time that he was that age all the way up until when he finally met Odin? I find that personally hard to believe, that nobody else knew about it. What I will say is that about that is that, again, it also shines a light on how, as a society, we can try to act like we care. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna put it out this way. Nowadays, it's definitely more accepted. I'll say specifically white people. But when it comes, I'm not a Latina or nothing like that. I'm not in that community. But the Latina community it's adjacent to the black community. And within those communities, I feel like we're not there yet. We're not there. We're so behind. We're so behind. I'm talking about as far as our perceptions and the way that we view people and the way that we talk about people who are within the LGBT community, which is why this man didn't even feel the need, or was terrified to probably even come out the closet if he was gay. So I think that was terrible. I think that woman, I wrote her name, the reporter Michelle, I really hope that the fact that you said what you said on that air, and then 2 days later the man that man killed himself. Now, I don't know if that's why he did it, but I'm telling you right now, I hope that shit plays on your conscience for the rest of your life. For you to out somebody like that in the way that you fucking did it, that shit was complete trash. And I don't care what that man did, that shit was complete trash. Even the fucking courts pulled back from that shit, because that shit is wrong. That is wrong as hell. And I hope that Michelle lady, I hope that your shit gets spammed for the rest of your life. I hope that people are coming for you. Bitch, I hope you lose your fucking job, because that was some trash ass shit. And as a fucking reporter, as a journalist, you get no points. You should just completely be scrapped from even having that behind your fucking name, because the way that you did it was complete fucking trash, and I wasn't here for. I was disgusted when I heard that fucking audio. Disgusted. Okay? And then finally, let's talk about the NFL. Alright, so in my fucking opinion, after watching this damn thing, I feel like the NFL was way too fucking complicit in a fucking way. Because I'm gonna say this. When Aaron had got into it with, I think it was Alexander, and he was terrified and shit, right? And he was like, yo, I gotta get the fuck up out of here. I'm ready to go. And he went to the NFL. He went to the Patriots, and he told them, I want to be traded because I don't feel safe. And Bill Belichick said, nope. And it would be one thing if y'all said no, but then y'all helped him get another fucking apartment in the cut somewhere. So let me get this straight. So y'all won't let him fucking leave because he's afraid of, because he's fearful for his fucking life. But y'all will fucking help him get somewhere in the cut. That shit's trash. It's fucking trash. It's fucking trash. Okay? And the NFL also, like the fucking colleges, y'all let y'all people get away with what the fuck ever. Y'all let them get away with whatever. Beating women, domestic violence, hit and runs, murders, robberies, beat up. As long as they bring some money into y'all fucking organization, that's all y'all care about. And then when shit hit the fan, then y'all want to try to throw y'all hands back. Oh no, we didn't do it. We didn't have nothing to do it. Same thing with the whole Ray Rice situation. Y'all fucking seen that and then tried to throw your hands up like, oh no, we didn't know. We didn't know when y'all fucking knew. There needs to be an investigation and documentary did specifically on the Patriots, not about how they win it, but about all of the scandals that's connected. There's too much bullshit connected to the Patriots, Robert Kraft, and Bill Belichick. It's too much bullshit that's connected to them, and I can't wait till somebody really does an in-depth documentary on peeling the fucking, pulling back the curtain on what the fuck goes on in that organization. Because I feel like it's a lot of heinous shit that we don't know nothing about. Because them motherfuckers care about winning a little bit too much. But my personal and I feel like there's way more that goes on in that organization. I also want to bring up the fact that he talked about the Toradol and how, you know, they had banned it, but the Patriots was fucking giving it to him so that he could take his ass out on that field. Y'all need help. Like, not just the Patriots, but this whole, it's fucked up. It's a fucked up system. It really the fuck is. And then we talk about the whole thing with him having CTE. Do I think that was the only reason why he acted the way he acted? No. But do I think it played into it? Yes, I do. Y'all cannot sit up here and try to act like somebody's brain not being full has nothing to do with how they act. There was a man by the name of Jose, I cannot think of his last name, Lord please forgive me, football player who had CTE and he killed himself as well. You know, y'all can't tell me that shit didn't play into it. I feel like a lot of people, when it comes to football, they try to downplay the CTE, but it's a real fucking thing. I will say that nowadays, when you go into football, you know about the risk, but I don't like the way that shit is downplayed. I definitely think that played into why he acted the way he acted. Not the only reason, not an excuse, but I do feel like it played into it. Absolutely. You cannot be missing that much of your brain and not make, you know, and then be like, you cannot lose that much of your brain and then not have stuff that's irrational as fuck going on. But in general, all I wanted to say is that, again, I'm going to say this on all of my videos when it comes to men specifically, therapy. That man needed therapy. He needed to go and talk to somebody, okay? And I advise any and everybody else who's having problems, whether it be with their anger, depression, family, please go to therapy. I go to therapy. It's nothing wrong with it. It's actually extremely fucking helpful. And I wish that man would have got the help that he needed. That's all I can say. Because if he would have, then none of this shit would have happened. So I really wish that going forward, I know that they're not, but I really wish that the NFL going forward will do fucking better. Okay? I wish that college teams will do better. I wish that as a whole we will do better. Okay? I'm out, y'all. I talked long enough. Bye.